Tuesday morning, making a little bit of coffee. 7 a.m. Luca's sleeping in. I would assume he's gonna wake up any minute. I'll have to go get him out of bed. We got a big ol' speed work on the docket for today. I think it's gonna be a mile warm up, and then I believe it's two-mile segments at. It's supposed to be, I think, close to like a 7:15 pace, 7:10 pace. I think I'm gonna make it more like a 7:30 pace because the training apps kind of surpassed my current fitness level. It thinks I'm a lot fitter than I am. And then 3 minutes rest in between those, and then two 1 mile segments also at 7:30 pace, and then a mile cool down. So 8 miles of work this morning. Tuesday's also the morning I work from home, and we're gonna have a little off-season podcast. Filming, so basically I'm gonna go for my run probably right at 8. I'll take my lunch break at 8 and then plan the podcast, film the podcast after that. Will probably be my plan this morning, and then we'll have to film this afternoon, I do believe. But this week, started a newsletter last week. If you haven't checked it out yet, you can look at the description down below. But I've always enjoyed like journaling, writing, and I normally just do it kind of for myself. And I was like, hey, you know what? I think it'd be good because I have like 17 different journals and different drawers and stuff where I've journaled over the years, and I never end up being able to like go back and read them because they're not all in one place. So like it'd be good to have them all in one place. And that place is going to be this newsletter. This week's newsletter is going to be about how running has changed the way I perceive day-to-day life, business, and I'm going to touch on that in this video too. So, the thing I'm about to talk about in my newsletter and wanted to kind of make this video around was the way that running has over time changed the way I perceive, I guess not to sound too dramatic, but life. So when I first started running, I ran more as a competitive thing against one of my buddies, Trevor. And we were training for a 5K. So we ran that 5K turkey trot. And then from then on, I just kind of kept running. So following that turkey trot, I'm trying to think what the next thing I trained for was. I think I just kind of ran just to run. And I had Luca, my son, the following August. I was in shape prior to that, going to run the 10 miler. And then about, it's like a big race here in Lynchburg. And a few weeks before that, before we had Luca, I got high ankle sprains. Knocked me out of running for like 4 weeks. Right as I was getting back into it was when we had my son, so it knocked me out like another few weeks because I was not about to run with a newborn. Didn't have time. And so then that puts me like beginning of September, I started to run again. The 10 miler is like middle September, into September. So 10 miler did not happen. But shortly after that, I set the goal to run a half marathon. And so I picked the date in February of 2023 to run a half marathon. All of this training was incorrect training. It was basically go out, run as fast as I could for as long as I could, and that was it. It was around this fall, though, that I heard that you're supposed to run 80% of your miles easy at a conversational pace. You know, your heart rate, for me, below 155. And then 20% your speed work, lactate threshold, that type of stuff. I didn't understand that. It sounded so dumb to me because I went out and tried it at the beginning of my half marathon training. And this is around the time I started to like tell people about this idea of, I was like, oh, I just heard about this, like, I'm gonna try it. And if I stuck to that, like I stuck to easy conversational pace, monitoring my heart rate, keeping it below 155, my pace per mile was literally like 11:30 or like 12 minutes. I'd have to look back to find the exact pace, but it was slow, because prior to this, I was only training for like 5K, and I wasn't a fast runner. I'm still not a fast runner, but I was running most of my miles at like 9-minute pace, 9:30 pace, something like that. But my heart rate was so high, it was like 170s. He says never pay attention to it. I thought running was supposed to suck. And so during this half marathon prep, I was embarrassed of my times. I was like, No, I'm not gonna go as easy. So I would in my head be like, oh, I'm gonna run easy, and then I would start my run easy. It'd be going way too slow, and then I'd pick up the pace, and then so needless to say, that first half marathon I ended up running at a 10:38 pace, and the race sucked. I had to walk a lot towards the end of it. Everything about it was bad. The prep was bad. Everything was bad. Come June of this year is when I finally bought in because I knew I was going to train for a half marathon in September and then the Disney marathon, which we are now about a month out from. And this is when I bought in of I'm going to try this whole run easy, in run slower to get faster thing. And at first there was like no progress. I mean, y'all have been watching these vlogs, hopefully. But if you haven't, you can find ones where I was running like 10-mile runs was like my long run, and I was just crashing. And it wasn't even I wasn't even trying to push that much, but like my paces were slow. And then around, gosh, it was probably around I started that in June, maybe into May, probably like July or August, something started to click, right? And the easy runs felt easier, but I was running faster and faster and faster to the point where half marathon day, I walked in feeling really good about trying to get as close to 2 hours as I could. Ended up having electrolytes a little bit off planning, and I cramped up a little on mile 12, but I ended with a 2:06. I had to look at my exact time. I think it was like 2:06:30, somewhere in there. And I was really freaking proud of that. Really happy with it. Because like that was kind of unfathomable back in February. And like that's such a short turnaround, but what I've learned through that, because now 2 weeks ago, the weekend of Black Friday, I went to the beach and I had a training run on my calendar for 13 miles. So I just turned it into a half marathon, and I ran a 1 hour 58 minute half marathon. I ran a sub 2 hour half marathon. Really proud of that. And it didn't even feel that hard. Now my heart rate was definitely higher during that, but my easy runs have gotten where, the Thursday's run this week, speed work this week was the last thing I was talking about. Speed work went good. Thursday's run was 6 miles, or no, I did 5 miles on Thursday because I knew Friday was going to be busy. So 5 miles on Thursday. I ended up running at like a 9:36 pace, and my average heart rate was 149. So like that's the progress I've made, right? To where now I'm feeling a lot better about going into this marathon and trying to run sub 10-minute pace, maybe push close to a 4-hour marathon, which is 6 months ago seemed inconceivable. So what happened during that process? I wanted to kind of fill in all of what I've went through so you can understand kind of what the takeaways for me were. Because if I look back over this, nothing drastic changed. There was not one singular run that was the difference maker. There was no fast track that like this changed everything. What it was I knew the right answer to the problem I was having. I knew the right solution to getting faster at running. I had the head knowledge. But what the solution was boring. Because what the solution was committing to the monotonous, slow, easy runs and doing those every day, showing up pretty much every day, even on rest days, taking rest days seriously, showing up on rest days in the sense of stretching, rolling out, focusing on nutrition, so on and so forth. But showing up and doing the boring runs, the slow runs, that's what made me get so much faster and progress so much more. And as I realized that, I had so many opportunities in life and in business to kind of apply the same thing, where there's not going to be a like super one size fits all solution, right? There's got a lot of times I feel like I know the answer to growing a business. I know the answer to growing YouTube. Like the next upload on YouTube isn't going to change our YouTube channel or our business, right? But 5 years of uploading twice a week, every week, and some nowadays 10 times a week on our main channels, it has changed our business drastically. And that wasn't a, something didn't just like flip. That was a continued commitment to doing the mundane, doing the ordinary, and that built something that to me is extraordinary. 100,000 subscribers on our main channel, that was a lifetime goal of mine. And the way we got there was we kept showing up. We kept trying to get a little bit better every time we pressed record, but nothing felt extraordinary. It just was slow growth. And then there were some peaks, there were some breakthroughs, there were some valleys, but it was just slow, day in, day out growth. So that's kind of what I've learned over these past 6 months. It's been very encouraging to see, like, you don't have to do anything that hard a lot of times. You just have to keep showing up. That's what running's taught me, and it's changed a lot of areas about how I'm focusing. And you have to think a lot more long term, right? I'm not trying to lose 10 pounds this month. All right, I'm trying to reframe goals to be longer term or systematic goals, where I'm not trying to lose 10 pounds, right? I'm trying to implement healthy eating habits and running habits, and then the weight just falls off. Hopefully that all makes sense. If you haven't subscribed to my newsletter, I was a lot more concise, I guess you could say, in it, when I'm able to write my thoughts. I don't ramble. So you can check the newsletter out down here. I try to send them out every Wednesday morning. So midweek, you get a little glimpse into my head and what's going on. But yeah, hopefully that all made sense. Got a long run on the docket, 12 miles Saturday morning. Let's jump into it. 5 miles in to a 12-mile run this Saturday, and it sucks. It sucks really bad. My lungs feel off, very off. My heart rate is way higher than it should be for the pace I'm running. I'm having to run like a 10:30, 10:40, like literally full minute and a half slower, or minute slower than where I was like 2 weeks ago. So I don't know if I'm sick, if I just like didn't fuel right yesterday. I don't know what's going on, but I'm gonna get it done. I feel like these runs are the important ones when you just don't feel right and they suck, to be able to mentally push through and prepare for the race. But it's bad out here. Got the run done yesterday. It's now Sunday morning and I'm updating this. I think it's so funny that the week I like do the whole spiel on like running changing my life and how like I'm dedicated to doing the like slow easy runs and it's really paying off, my paces are picking up, yada yada yada, and then I just have a run like this on the weekend that just like deflates you. But I do think I think that, so my wife has a cold going on right now. A lot of people at work have colds. So I'm thinking that I must have a cold, or I must have some type of like respiratory something, because the only way to describe my run yesterday was like literally a mile in, my lungs just felt like heavy and it felt like I had to work a lot more to keep my heart rate low. So like ended up being 12 miles at a 10:22 pace. And I think I have to look, I wonder if I can look at my watch to see my average heart rate. I think I did end up doing a good job of keeping my average heart rate low. Yeah, it should be this one here. But it was rough. It was very rough. And so the only thing that makes sense to me is that like, yeah, average heart rate ended up being 153. And so the only thing that makes sense is that I have a touch of like, because the rest of the day I felt I had no energy. I was absolutely drained. We ended up, Luca, my son over there, whoops, say hi, bud. He ended up having a little bit of a rough time going to sleep last night, so we got in bed at like 7:30 trying to help him go to sleep, and eventually we were able to get him to go to sleep in his bed by like 8:40, and so I just passed out at 8:40, and he slept till like almost 8 o'clock this morning. So got a lot of sleep last night. I'm feeling a lot better this morning, but I never felt sick. I just felt so run down after the run. But during the run, I just like, my lungs felt heavy, felt like a lot of effort for not a lot of pace. And the only thing that makes sense to me is I must have picked up some type of like respiratory something cold wise is going on. But like in day-to-day life, I didn't notice it because I don't know if it's like because of how much I'm running, my like lung capacity's higher or something, to where like I don't notice labored breathing in day to day, but then when I like try to do something active, I noticed it. That's something that makes sense to me. I don't know, but got it done. I'm at 29. miles for the week, so I need a restful day today just to feel better. But I'll probably run 2 or 3 miles just to get over that 30-mile mark, and then peak weeks next week. So a lot of miles next week.